You want to give that shit up. So he was to the Nice Council. He was like, look, all right, basically compile all the different doctrines that you have and figure out a way to put our basically our pagan rituals into the doctrine with Christianity. So Nicene Council, he was like, look, all right, basically compile all the different doctrines that you have and figure out a way to put our basically pagan rituals into the doctrine with the Christianity, so that we can still do what we need to do, but still take over Christianity at the same time.
So this was about using belief to govern people.
Yeah.
Let's pause it real quick.
That's all it was.
I think you've been possessed.
All the folks out there, what it do? Let's get it. So I want to start off focusing on what he just said. Constantine, Council of Nicaea. What happens with this part right here is that Constantine becomes the Roman ruler. It's disputed historically whether or not he was really a Christian or not, but one thing we can say for sure, he was definitely a Christian sympathizer. Now, we don't know if that was primarily because of the fact that he was Christian or because he just wanted to keep his empire united. That's a big focus of all leaders and rulers. They want to keep it united. Matter of fact, one group of people thought it was so important to keep it united, they actually named an entire country the United States. So it's very important. Having said that, Constantine wants to keep the place united. There's a lot of different Christianity has been illegal the entire time that it's been going on. And Constantine was the one who finally made it legal for everybody to have their own religion and worship whatever God they want to worship at this time. So he's well known for doing that. Now, whenever he gets people involved with compiling all their different doctrines, it's because Christianity's been illegal. So anybody that had any kind of Christian literature, anybody that was known to be a Christian, they could be killed or worse. Their family, all that kind of stuff. So now that it's finally after 300 something years of being illegal and having to run and hide, and so everything's kind of scattered. There's no central organization. There's no monolithic authority yet. Now there's different doctrines out there. There's different philosophy, different beliefs, just like we have today. And so Constantine isn't really a part of the compiling of the doctrines or the putting doctrines together and figuring out what's what. He's more so overseeing it to make sure that it's done right so that he can have unity in his empire. So that's what they bring people over. The primary focus was Jesus God, or was he not God? Was he the creator? Was he not the creator? So that was the primary question they were trying to focus on at this moment in time. And that's what the guys come together to focus on. So it wasn't compiling a bunch of different doctrines. They had literature, they had scriptures, but they never had been able to sit down and really focus on getting all their doctrines lined up and ironed out about what the text really says. And so that's what their focus was in this meeting.
Yeah. I also want to point out that in history, Constantine was, while they credit him with the massive spread of Christianity, I think if you dig a little bit more in, you'll see that he was more responsible for removing the persecution of Christians, and Christianity spread freely after that, as opposed to him pushing Christianity. He just rescinded the laws that would persecute Christians for spreading their religion or the doctrine as they already were. Christianity was already a thing; it was already spreading. In fact, I believe Constantine's mother was a Christian.
I think it was like a concubine of his or something like that. But maybe his mother. I don't know about his mother, but I know for sure a concubine was.
Well, his mother was definitely a Christian, and probably a concubine, because it's not like he was around at the beginning of it. My point is that people who are not going to do enough research, for the most part, are going to credit Constantine with the spread of Christianity from the Roman Empire. And while you can credit him with that, he didn't necessarily push it, right?
He wasn't heralding it, and he's not like the guy you see downtown with his Bible preaching to everybody. That wasn't Constantine.
No, he just was like, listen, we're not gonna track down and kill these guys no more for what they believe in. Just let them be, and then Christianity would grow and flourish on its own after that.
Yeah. Just to add on to it, the first 300 years, the Christian church was underground, like Vulcan said earlier. So the gospel was spread. It revolutionized the West, and you could say the East too, even in Egypt. So the first 300 years, this is how, if you want to find out or want to make sure, how can you know what certain historical facts are actually factual? One of the ways you can tell if what's plausible is the disperse of the information, how fast it spread it. The first 300 years, it spread it like wildfire. So with that being said, when that happens, you have multiple cultures obtaining these documents, so these transcripts, so these manuscripts, and there's different interpretations. The manual is the same, but the way different cultures interpret it is different. So that was the reason they called this the Iranian controversy. So that was the purpose of the Council of Nicaea, because some people didn't know Jesus was God.
Then you see Zoe mention it's about using belief to control. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
You know, my issue with people saying that kind of stuff is that it's not saying much. We all know that you use beliefs to control anything. That's how you control everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, it starts in the mind. So he's putting a sinister plot to it, a negative stigma on controlling with thought and beliefs. But that's how we keep our kids in line. That's how we keep students in line. That's how pretty much every organization run by beliefs. Good beliefs of loyalty and respect and honor. There's all kind of beliefs that we hold to, virtues that we do, and why we should hold to these values that are beliefs. And those are things that we use to keep people controlled, keep people uniform, keep people on the same page. Mission statements, if you have a company, vision statements, mission statements. These are all beliefs and stuff like that that we use to keep people on the same page. Some would say controlled.
There is no organization on the face of the planet, whether it be spiritual, religious, scientific, colloquial, regional, like none of them. They all have to have a common belief. What the problem that I have with this statement is that Zoe Williams would have you believe that he would demonize Christianity and other religions, other Abrahamic beliefs, by saying that they utilize belief to control and like to exert control over the masses. But like Vulcan was saying, what belief system, what organization is not built that way? So why demonize the one? And again, you're gonna hear me say this multiple times throughout. It's very clear that Jeff and Zoe Williams, I'm not sure the other gentleman's name, it's very clear they have a beef with Christianity as a whole, and maybe even all of the Abrahamic faiths. But someone clearly hurt them because you could talk about the Crips and the Bloods. It's a belief system, right? You could talk about any sort of rap group. You can talk about like any organization, any charitable organization. They believe in the same thing, and based on those beliefs, they have a different hierarchy and a set of standards and rules that they follow. That's just how things work.
Yeah, definitely repudiated Christianity. They're definitely a good example of that.
So while it's true, it's not true that it should be demonized, or it's not an evil thing. It just is the nature of how things work, how people organize.
Good stuff.